Welcome back to Pain and Revival Podcast. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Today, I have a chiropractor, Dr. Liz Morins from Key West, Florida. She mentioned to me that she had been in a kind of abusive, narcissistic, manipulative, all that stuff type of a relationship. And just would love to hear your story and how you got out of that and just revived.
Right on, right on. And the funny thing is, if whether it's your family or someone that who gave birth to you as the abusive person, they make it look like it's so easy and it's so the right thing. Like it's so tricky.
Yeah.
I fell into a relationship with this man, and he's a local man, so who knows? Maybe he'll watch this. That'd be funny. Hopefully, he's healing, But
Yeah.
at the time, I felt like the biggest person in the world and like the superstar. And then within like 6 months, he would look at me and be like, "I want your hair to be this way. I want you to don't wear makeup today. Don't." And for some crazy reason, as the strong woman I am, and I've always been this way, I listened. It felt right. I felt loved and I felt okay in this relationship. And it wasn't until when I tried to leave and I was told I can't leave and pushed into a corner physically. And I literally ran out and physically ran to another friend's house that night and stayed there. And the police got involved. I didn't realize how bad it was. So never hit me or anything like that, but it was very mental. But it took me, it's 2024 now, and I still sometimes have to talk to my therapist about it. And I'm in a fantastic relationship now with a man who he's just the best, my best friend. But it's funny because as a woman, it'll break you down. And it's been a long time. And I'm still sometimes having moments where I have to think, that's not him. That was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. You're through this. You're better now. But it does take a toll on confidence and your overall well-being. But I got out of it. And unfortunately, I got out of it in a dramatic way because I had to have, it's called a civilian standoff, when you have a police officer come, not for violence, but they come and just stand there while you remove your things from a home. Or in this particular situation, I was getting my dog because for the first 2 weeks I lived in that hotel after the hurricane, I let him take care of my dog because I knew it was a safe spot for my dog. He had his stuff there, but I was like, I want my dog.
Right.
So I ended up calling the police saying, I need to go get my items from my home and get my dog. So they supported me and I went and got my dog, and I think I had a couple bags of stuff there still because I had evacuated previously already. So everything you learn what you really need to survive when you evacuate for a life-threatening situation. You learn the few things that you need, and it's not what you think. You don't need a lot. I have since purged, and we're almost like minimalists in my house now. It's quite cool. But I got out of that, and we really never really spoke much after that. But after a lot of therapy and going to coaching seminars in Palm Beach and stuff like that, one day I felt very compelled to call him and tell him I forgave him for me. So I called him and told him I forgave him for all the pain and suffering he caused me, and I wished him well. And we live on an island that's only 12 square miles, 4x3. So have we seen each other since this all happened in 2017, 18? Yes, we have. And it was civil. So that's really good. I feel good about that. But that's not the exciting part of where I'm at. What I'm excited about is how far we've come, and you do have to do the work. If you just let it all consume you, you're not going to make it. You really won't make it. I could have lost my practice. I could have lost my life if I let the easy things take over, which is like drinking or sleeping in or missing work or just traveling a lot to just avoid. If I had let all that just take over, no way I would be where I'm at. So
yeah,
that's the work.
Yeah, for sure. So so I would say us women, maybe I guess men too, who have been in abusive, narcissistic relationships, they often we struggle with. I feel like me specifically, I don't know about you, but I snap back often as if it was that person who is talking to me, but it's not. And so then I take stuff the wrong way, but it's definitely not how that person meant it, but it's just the fight or flight mode in me, I guess. And so I just snap. And it's nothing personal, but what's your advice to someone who is doing that? Or is there anything that you do to kind of avoid snapping back at someone?
That's so interesting. That does happen to me as well. And my current fiance will say, you're talking to the wrong person. It happens once in a great while. If I'm very triggered, and it'll, I have to leave. I'll have to just say, I'll be back. I don't need to talk to you like this. And I have to just walk out of the situation. And that's basically my best advice, is just remove yourself, get present, take a breath, get present, realize it's not here. Like, you're dealing with the present time, and this person doesn't deserve to be treated like that. So I'll have to often remove myself, because I'm very intense. I'm like black or white, like 0 to 100. I don't really have a gray, and people know that about me. And he knows this, which is great. He's so patient. And I think the fact that my fiance has raised 2 children, lovely, and has got 2 amazing kids, and he's so good with me. it's oftentimes you have to just stop, remember who you are, where you are, who are you talking to, and just walk away. And for me, it's been lately, what I've really noticed is helping me, and I don't know about you because it's colder where you are, but of course, get your adjustments, get into possibly cold water therapy, because getting into my cold tub every day for 6 minutes, it forces you to breathe and slow down and get present, because you think you're going to die because it's cold. And me sitting in there every single day, and I'm going to do it after we hang up. It not only helps you with old emotional trauma, but it's helping with old, also physical traumas. Like, I have an injury in my shoulder right now, and I feel like $1 million every time I'm in that cold plunge. And when I get out and my mood is good, I'm more even keeled, I'm more calm. It's changed my personality. And people are like, it's not a trend. No, it's not a trend. People have been getting in cold water for hundreds and hundreds of years, because they know it does something to your mind. I've noticed for me emotionally, it's been very, very healing. But you just got to get present, Nevaeh. You don't want to be blaming people that you love and people who are around you, who are on your side, for things that happened in the past. It's not their problem.
Yeah, it's also,
we have to be responsible for our own stuff.
For sure. It says a lot about the kind of person you're in a relationship with now, he can understand that it's nothing personal. Like, when you snap, he's not like, oh, that's me. He's like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Let's let you have your time.
I'm so lucky. I am.
Yeah, that's really amazing that you found that, and that works for you, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people struggle with. But
absolutely.
Lots of young girls, what's your advice to them going into relationships? And because a narcissist, they are very confusing, and you may think they're the greatest person on earth, but they are in fact not. So what's your advice to someone like that? How do I identify a narcissist, I guess, is my question.
It's a good question, because I'm almost 40 and I'm not married. So I'm kind of unique, I guess, but we've been engaged for a couple of years. But you don't want to do things the way I did it when I was younger. I always felt like I needed to take care of somebody else. And that is a flaw of my own that I've learned over working on myself, that that's not the truth. So you don't ever want to rush. You don't want to rush. And sometimes things are too good to be true, and they appear that way. And you need to be on your A game and on the defense about that, especially young girls, because there are people out there to hurt you and to take from you what you have. And for me, I have really great energy. I'm always positive, no matter what, even when a hurricane's coming, potentially taking my office, my mom's dead, my dog died, found out I was a second in someone's life, like a second wife almost, like he had a whole second life. I still was positive and like everything's awesome. And I wasn't faking it. I always can find the ember in like the darkness. Like, I always am able to do that. I joke that I can make someone laugh at a funeral. Like, it's my job to make people feel comfortable and loved. And that's my best trait. And it happens to work well as being a chiropractor, to make people feel loved. But we have to always it's not always beautiful and rainbows. There are people out there in the world that want to take from you, and narcissists want to take from positive, loving people like you and I, they want to take your energy. They want to take your goodness. They want, because they don't have it. They genuinely they're dark. So when they meet someone like you or I, they want to abuse that. They want to take it and like siphon it. And and there's certain people you're going to come encounter with in your life because you can't avoid it. Social person, you're around people all the time. You leave them feeling less. You feel energetically lower. You might feel a headache. You might feel off. Yeah. You know in your heart and spirit that person is not energetically positive, or they possibly could be a narcissist. I hate to label things, but they could be a narcissist. So you need to just be on your A game. And young women going into romantic relationships, God, I mean, now we have apps for that. Like you can probably screen anybody you want to. I don't know. I didn't ever use that, but I'm just going to say be on the defense, and things can look absolutely perfect and be a horrible situation that you don't know you're walking into. So whether it's romantic or even in your family, and you can cut off ties with your family if you have to.
I know that's such a big thing.
Yes.
People don't understand that. I know, obviously, but I don't if you're not trustworthy and you're not loyal and you're not doing good things, I'm going to cut you out of my life. But that's just out of place. That's where I'm at now. But it does take a lot to get to this place, because it didn't just happen overnight. It was like you go through years of like not knowing what to do, and you're confused because you're like, wait, but this person's my family. They're really supposed to love me, and mine was my mother. So I'm like, she's supposed to love me most of all. And here we are. And it's really confusing. But you can cut ties with your family. It's no problem. It's okay.
Yes, it's hard, but it's the right thing to do sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. 100%.
With anyone. And I feel like a narcissist, when you try and cut ties with them, as you know, they're gonna try and like manipulate you and make you think that it's your fault, and the reason that they maybe did some of the things they did, it's their fault. But especially if physical harm is involved, there's nothing you can say or do that should cause that, unless like you've like threatened to kill them. But like,
yeah, and that's very serious, and it's gonna hurt for many years if you remove a direct family member from your life, which me and my sisters kind of have. I totally understand that to a certain degree, Nevaeh, but it's hard, and I feel it every day. But there's evidence. You'll see evidence that it was the right decision, right? You'll see evidence like in your life moving forward and your growth that was the right decision for you to make at that time as an individual. So
right,
yeah,
and also like there's always gonna be a crowd for you. I think everyone has. I'm like weird. I think everyone has their people, and the reason that some people are alone is because they haven't found their people, or they're just not the best person, and then you have your people, but they're not the best people either. So
that happens too.
Yeah,
it's the wrong people. Yep.
It's find your people and make sure that they're good people, because like that's the thing about DE is like no matter, like you could do anything and they're still gonna invite you in with loving arms and just be there for you. And it's incredible, and that's why they're my people. I'm sure that's why they're your people, because they're there, and no matter what.
Absolutely. I've only been the DE crowd. I don't even know if you were born yet, but my first DE was I think 2014. It was or 15. It was a big party, like a 50-year gala, or maybe something like that. We were in Atlanta, big party. But I got really involved with DE in 2020 after the pandemic shutdowns, all the things, because I felt so alone. I was the only chiropractor, in fact, the only doctor in the Keys, really, who was outspoken and saying something's not right. Like, this is not what it looks like.
Right.
And so I got on an airplane and flew to Atlanta, and we all got together, and it felt like I was with my people for the first time ever, because we were all on the same page pretty much. And at that particular DE, we weren't even allowed to take pictures like we normally do, because
I remember that.
We didn't want our patients to come back and be like, oh, you were at an event, super spreader. So and I actually ended up flying like 4 or 5 times that season because I just wanted to get around my people. So I went to New England and I went to Atlanta, and I've traveled a lot, even though I hated the guidelines of it. And I might have been kicked off a certain airline for 1.5 years because of it. And that's fine.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fine. We're good now. And it is what it is. But I felt so alone in my community because I live in a certain community that's very one-sided about stuff, and they like to virtue signal, and they like to just scream victim about everything. And my county is a certain way, but my town is different. And I do not fit in here. I am like a square peg in a round hole, but I love everybody. And even though I was called a racist, a homophobe, a grandma killer, I was called a lot of things because I never wore a mask voluntarily. And I practiced and stayed open, even though people tried to shut me down.
Wow.
That happened in 2020.
So that's crazy. You really you were really standing up for what you believe and just not backing down. And I really admire that about you, because that's something that's very you don't find that a lot anymore.
You don't. And yes, I luckily I teamed up with one local medical doctor who's I call him one of my best friends. And I was just with him and his wife this week. And he did a presentation this week about the effects of the JAB and how deadly it is. And I'm so proud of him. And that's all I got to say. And I told him jokingly, now you know what it feels like to be a chiropractor. Because we have been speaking out about the real truth about health since 1895. And you're an MD taking a stand, and he lost a lot of followers, and people really abused him just like they did me. But I said, that's my life every day. Like, that's what we deal with every day, because we believe a certain way about health. And here you are. So I was like, I'm so proud of you.
Right.
He spoke to a room of 100 people on Monday night and told them, can we all agree none of you ever get any more jabs? Because even if you've already gotten them, you might be able to be helped, but no more, because we're finding out they're useless, sickly, and if not deadly. So I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him.
That's amazing, because we need more medical doctors who will say stuff like that and are willing to speak the truth, because it could save life.
Exactly. So I was just really proud of him. He's a guy in his 70s, healthy, plays tennis, because he gets adjusted.
Wow.
Of course. So he's vital. He's doing great. So
So I think that kind of ties in is, sometimes it's going to be hard, because when you stand up, especially like me and people like me who have generational trauma, like my family is crazy, like on both sides, going generations back, like far back. We're crazy.
So I don't know all that, but I know a little bit because of what you came and spoke in front of 200 of us that time. And I was so impressed with this young girl. Here we are. But yeah, wow, you got to keep healing, girl. It's not a one-day process.
But it's hard to stand up, and it's hard to just stand up and be like, you know what, I can't anymore. It's not for me. But if you have that vision inside of you, if there's that little light that's like, I'm not this, I don't want to be this, take that and run with it, because oftentimes people are like, oh, you're just crazy. Like, no, you're not, you're fine. No, you have that light inside of you, or the dream, or whatever it is, for a reason. It was put in you for a reason, and it's your job to pursue it. Just because it's in your mind doesn't mean that it's going to happen. You have to put action behind it, and it's going to be hard, and people are going to turn against you, and it's going to be the people that you never thought. It's going to be like your best friend, and she's going to be like, no, we're not friends anymore. And you're going to be like, what? But you have to just stand on your principle and
so true.
Believe.
I saw a lot of that in 2020, 2021 when I took a stand. I said, even if you come in here and say, and this was not family related, but I said business-wise, I took a massive risk. I said, I'm not going to wear a mask. And I practiced, and my practice went down for a while because people were scared, and they had a right to be, because it was a weird time. Right. But people came back. Many people have never come back. And I said, you can come back when you're ready. I'll always be here for you, even if we're complete opposites ideologically, what we believe in, blah, blah, blah. they're always welcome back in my practice, but don't ever ask me to cover my God-given airway, because the times I've tried to do it, I believe it was old physical trauma as a child, but I blacked out and I fell down and hit my head and knocked myself out. So the one day I wore a mask adjusting people, I was like 5 minutes wearing it and I completely collapsed in my office.
Wow.
I think it triggered something very old in me from childhood. So point is, I said, well, it's a risk to me. So if you're telling me you need to wear it for me because I have asthma or I have cancer or this, I said, well, you're putting me at risk. So stop. Why are we all, I mean, the whole 2020 thing was such a joke, and we all know the truth now. I mean, it's coming out in so many ways about what really is going on and how it was a power grab and about power and all this other stuff. I lost so many patients over it, but I actually gained probably thousands more. People were starting to call our office and say, is this the office where I don't have to wear a mask? And my manager would say, yeah, you're welcome here no matter what you choose. And that became the applicable comment to other questions, because people would often call and say, is the doctor vaccinated? Yeah. And my manager would say, it's not anyone's business about the doctor's health or mine. And we welcome all people no matter what you choose. And we've taken over half of a plaza now in Key West. So we did something right, but it was scary because for many weeks, there was like no one coming in. But then all of a sudden, my office became like the only place open. So they were either going to Publix, because again, we live on an island today, so not much was going on. So people would come in all dressed up. I saw a woman one day in high heels. She had like a glittery shirt. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you so dressed up today? And she goes, it's my birthday and I have nowhere to go but here. Like, what? We almost jokingly like opened a bar in there, like with wine and beer, because people were hanging out at my office because it was one of the only places that was open, essential. What a bunch of, I want to swear so bad. It became really fun to be that doctor.
Yeah, but so that's amazing. But it's sad at the same time, because it's amazing because it's like, okay, great. We got people together that, in other words, would like in other time we wouldn't have come together. But also,
and you were so young then too. Like,
yeah, I was like 9, 10.
It's crazy. We don't want to go back there.
No,
and we need to stand up for our rights is all.
Yeah, but it's like now, looking back, 2020 was a very sad year. It was a very closed off year. And if you look back from pictures and videos, like, I don't know, I saw this video and it was like just a span of the world and it just looks so dead. And it was just so sad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not what it's supposed to look like. And it's all because I can't say that. It's all because it's all because like people in power just think that, we want money. Okay, great. And they target you. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just,
for you to be your age and realize what had happened wasn't what we were told and it's about something else is very impressive. But I think being around the right people most of your life, I think really impacted that decision.
Yeah. Also, like, because I was in 2020, I was with my mom, and my mom was all on the left. She was like, yeah, masks, vaccines, all that. No, we didn't get vaccines because when we got vaccines when we were younger and we got sick with the disease, or whatever. I think it was the flu, right after that. And so we were like, that's kind of weird. I'm not going to lie, but
ding, ding.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's really hard. And we both can relate. Like, it's hard to stand up and be like, hey, this is not right. And this will never be right. There will never be a time where doing this will be right. You need to express your natural being, your natural self. It's okay to get sick. Honestly, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to die.
Right.
But anyway, so it's just crazy how the world thinks today, and we just need more little lights and little people like you. And in your community, you're changing the world. you are. And change the world 10 people at a time. That's my thing, is if I can help 10 people every single day, by some year, maybe it'll be the whole world. And
that's so
that's
encouraging.
my belief.
How old are you? How old are you right now, Nevaeh?
13.
Oh my God, so impressive. I was trying to explain you to my fiance last night. We were watching your channel on YouTube, and I said, well, I haven't written a book yet. I'm not like, Dr. Steve. I'm not on stages, but in my little community, I'm definitely impacting people. And I've really, in fact, shaken some people awake in the last few years. And every person that comes through our door gets a copy of Wake Up Humans.
Wow.
Every single person. I have the big box of the books, and I said, I don't really care who you voted for or what you believe in, but read this book and tell me what you think. So many people in our community have read Dr. Steve's book, and it's really cool.
You are changing the world, and that person, you're going to have those people who read the book, and your whole, so let's say half your community read the book, and those half of the people, they're going to go on vacation, and they're going to go to like New York and see their family. And then they're going to be like, hey, listen, I got this book and my chiropractor gave it to me and it was really amazing and you should read it.
Right.
And they're just going to plant that seed.
Let's hope. Yeah, absolutely. And we have to keep banking on that, because everything else out there, everything is trying to take us down and bring us to the negative and bring us to the gray and the dark, and just make us think the world is, overheated and there's all these problems and we all need electric cars and there's everything's so bad and sad, and everyone's so afraid of death, which is so weird. But it's strange. It's not a chiropractic podcast, like you said, but for some reason, it's these chiropractors that are bringing a wicked, awesome, positive light to their community. I mean, when people come in my office, I say, all right, get face down, but tell me something good. Like we don't ask people how they feel because we don't treat symptoms. Yeah. Tell me something good. And sadly, some people have been like, oh, I don't know. And I'll be like, I'll be right back. I'm going to grab my water. You think about that. Dig deep. What's good in your world? And I get back and I'm ready to check their spine. And they're like, you know what? I'm just happy to be here today. Oh, that's enough. That's fine. Oh, it's sunny today. Great. It's 70 degrees here. Great. But people have had to dig really deep to find that good right now. So people like you and other chiropractors, even when we have bad days, we turn on the light so people can feel and find their light, because it's a hard world to live in right now. Oh, especially a teenage girl. So I have a teenage daughter. I can only imagine. I mean, we're really teaching her how to drive. It's been like the most fun thing I've ever done in my life. It's like I'm super scared, but I'm like, this is really fun. Like going in and out of the driveway, and she's 16 and my stepson's 17, and they don't know how much I love them. They're just everything to me. So
but it's wow, I just blanked on what I was gonna say. But it's like, it's crazy because we have to, by doing that, what you're doing, asking people, okay, tell me something good today. That's great, because and you lead them and you're like, okay, here, let's think about it. And that makes them really think, and then they start to appreciate the little things. And my biggest piece of advice to anyone going through any type of trauma, no matter what it is, no matter how little, how big, how small, like it doesn't matter, because I don't think that really, I don't think there's a how big and how small in trauma, but some people think that. You have to appreciate the little things or you're never going to make it through. Because if I would have been in the situation that I was and would have been so down and been like, oh, everything's horrible, because quite honestly, stuff was horrible, but there was still little things that I could appreciate. Watching the sunrise, it could be as little as that. Like, the little things matter. And I know that's so cliche, but it's the truth. And it's crazy, because I used to think that too. I'm like, when people say that to me, they're like, oh, it's the little things. I'm like, is it really though? And now that I've been through stuff, I'm like, yeah, it really is little things. And
it's 100%.
It's the only way.
It's just impressive. It's impressive you being as young as you are and already having that realization. So maybe what you've been through had a purpose to help you speak to other people, including myself. Just talking to you this morning, it's healing. This is healing. Because when you can talk about trauma and not react physically and cry or whatever, they say you're through it, or you're better. You know what I mean? Because I used to I had to write my story out because it was so many things that happened in like 1 year. What I went through. So I actually wrote it down, and I was like, I would read it and I would physically feel ill or sob. And then it took me about, 4 years, and I could tell my story and be like, it's fine. Like, it's all good. I'm not healed. We're never fully healed, but I'm able to function and not self-medicate or do something self-destructive or hurt myself. And that does happen even as chiropractors. And sometimes we hide, and work can be our only avenue to staying well. And that was for me for a while. I said to some patients, I said, if it wasn't for you guys, I'd be on a park bench like a homeless guy, like with a alcohol and a paper bag, like something weird, you know? And they were like, what? I'm like, you don't even know. I didn't even sleep last night. I'm just here because of you. Like, I told some patients like the truth, and they were like, oh my God, like, are you going to therapy? And that it helped me to get to therapy and stuff. But we can look like we're doing okay and not be okay, but healing is a process, and you're in a much better place, obviously, and you're inspired to help others by becoming a DC someday. And I think that's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Or even an MD, but be a good one, you know? I don't care if you go to med school or chiro school.
We're going to chiro school, but
I think so. I think that's the right avenue, but that's just so great. I'm not going to be at the conference this weekend, but I am sending my associate. She's going to come and hang and hug all of you and all that. And I met her because of DE. So DE has been such a healing and amazing place for me, as a very small chiropractor who was like scared of how to pay her bills at one point in her life, and now I'm fine. So like, you know, life is good, and being with the right people. That's it. DE is our people.
So as the podcast says, you know, revival. You have revived, and you know, revived sounds like past tense and like, oh, it's done with. But you know, I think revival is something that you continue to do. It's like healing. It's forever. You're forever reviving and being better and just flourishing. If you allow yourself. If you don't, then you're just going to be stuck, and that's on you. But 100%. So if you don't have anything else to say, I think we can wrap it up.
I don't think I do. I didn't just think that word revival. I love the title of your podcast. It's very bold.
Thank you.
It's very bold and powerful for anyone, especially a teenage female. But revival is a beautiful word, and it reminds me of Southern Baptist Church, which you go to, and they're all singing and they're all praising God, and it's wonderful. And that's like what I'm in now, because I live in the South, but also my fiance's family is very much Baptist. So I feel like I was meant to be on your podcast, and I can't wait to watch it grow more and see who else you talk to and see how it goes.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. It was an amazing story. And
yes, of course. And I'll see you in a few months.
In Atlanta. Yes. Okay. Well, April, Florida.
April. Oh, okay. Even better.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Hope everyone has a great day. Make sure you tune in next week at 6 a.m. and make sure you leave a comment, a follow, and review, and all that stuff. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks,